Hey guys, this is Kyle from 2 United Fans.
Hey guys, this is Notch from 2 United Fans.
We've really enjoyed making this show for you. Last year, in 11 episodes, we brought you
in-depth histories of 4 NASL squads,
an interview with Miguel Ibarra after his first minutes with Honduras,
a chat with Christian Ramirez right after he was awarded the NASL Golden Boot,
footage from the away match at Indy 11 that garnered over 2,000 views from around the world,
Bulgaria, India, Canada.
analysis from the semifinal, and video from the actual match.
That game never happened. This year, our plans are even bigger.
This year,
Massive!
we're going to the EPL, boys! Woo! We'll have post-game analysis from every Minnesota United match.
We're going to talk to even more players.
We're going to have more controversial topics and cover more of the local soccer scene that you love.
But we need your help.
We're currently running the show on a shoestring budget.
The light stands are made out of PVC.
You've consistently asked us to upgrade our audio.
But our most pressing need is a video editing laptop that lets us edit our videos both here and on the go.
Both Notch and I have made substantial new investments to our video equipment this year. So we're hoping the community can take that investment and push it even further.
That's why we're here to ask you to donate to 2 United Fans. $5, $10, $100. Whatever you can contribute makes a difference and helps us to continue making high quality video content related to Minnesota soccer.
So take a look at our Indiegogo page and donate today. Welcome to 2 United Fans. We've got another fun episode for you today. First, we get to talk with Bell Stenross from the Loon Call. We're going to talk a little bit about Miguel Ibarra's game this past weekend with the U.S. men's national team.
And after we're done with that conversation, I had a chance to sit down with Greg Jordan, player for our beloved Minnesota United FC. We talked about a few things, talked about his career, his time with Minnesota, and a little bit about the food he makes too. So stick around for that as well.
Should be fun.
Should be delicious.
Ooh. You might have noticed a new intro that we had in front of this video today. And right now we're in the process of upgrading our equipment and what we do to produce these great videos to you. And we're looking for any donation that you can provide, and we just want to thank you for it in advance.
Absolutely. Every little bit helps us out, keep these videos coming out. We really want to keep making phenomenal content as the year goes on and bring you some new stuff every week. But without further ado, let's switch over to Bill.
Take it out, Miguel.
Awesome!
Making trouble. There we go. Run! Take a run! That was on target.
Welcome everybody to 2 United Fans. I've got Bill from the Loon Call here. We're going to talk a little bit about Miguel Ibarra's performance this past weekend with the U.S. men's national team. He got the start. That was awesome.
It was fantastic to see him finally get the start. He's put in the work and really, he deserved it.
So a lot of the media outlets and fans out there are grading him on your scale of 1 to 10, throwing a 6 out. That's about what you're seeing, a little lower, maybe on some accounts, but what's your take?
I just feel like in this case, using that 1 to 10 scale might not give a true sense of how Miguel played. He did not make mistakes. He played very solidly, and he played to the role that it sure looked like Klinsmann was asking him to play. He was not the playmaker. He was not the person that was meant to, spark all the goals. But what he did do was he kept possession, and he got possession, which was something that the U.S. men's team has been missing for a while.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know it's hard for people to accept sometimes because they want to be able to put a number on a performance every time, and I would agree with that. But talking a little bit more, maybe in depth about his job, what's the job that you think Klinsmann gave him that game, or what did it look like it was?
Well, I think we're used to, as Minnesota United fans, seeing him more centrally located, more involved in creating goals for either himself or for other players. But for this team, his role was to be wider. You saw him on the touchline a lot, on the sideline, and because of that, he wasn't as involved in some of the build-up to the goal chances that the team had.
Okay. That makes sense, I guess. I guess one thing that people are saying specifically is that he backpassed a lot. With that, I think that's the one comment that's out there on the internet, is he got the ball and he passed it back. Do you have a different take on that?
He definitely did. I mean, there's no doubt a lot of his passes were backwards. But then you also looked and saw he had the ball in some dangerous positions, not in a position to necessarily take it in himself. He needed somebody to make a run. And people weren't making runs for him. He, one time in particular, he was even waving Dempsey to make a run, and instead Dempsey fell back, and Miguel passed it back to him. And that ended up being okay because there wasn't a great look at that moment. We kept possession, close to the goal, kept Panama on their heels, and that's what we need to do against teams like Panama, which are good but not great international sides.
Gotcha. And I think we talked a little bit before we got on camera here about the pressure that you mentioned. That was one thing that you really loved from Ibarra, that you saw as a huge, strong point of his game, was putting pressure on them in their attacking third.
Absolutely. There were a number of times early in the first half where he either, on a long ball, challenged when the defense got the ball first and won the ball back for us on a throw or a corner. And that's just something we haven't seen from the U.S. a lot recently. They've been willing to sit back, allow the opposition to work the ball up the field. You didn't see Panama work it up on the U.S.'s left side, which is kind of surprising when you consider that Breck Shea, who has never played left back before, played left back and had a good game. And I think a lot of that credit for Breck Shea's great game goes to Miguel Ibarra providing that support. And there was just so many times where either Miguel was pushing forward and pressuring somebody with the ball, or coming back and helping to double team. It's something that Minnesota United fans take for granted with Miguel. That's true. All of a sudden, here comes Miguel, he's going to steal the ball or create turnover. That's something that we hadn't seen from wide players at the U.S. at the international level for a while. And it was great to see Miguel get that pressure on, because Panama wasn't the greatest side, and we needed to make sure that we had the ball and were creating the opportunities.
That's true. We do take that for granted, and his defensive work rate is really phenomenal. And when I was thinking in my head about that, in a good two-way, midfielder, I was trying to compare him to some other players that we have on the national team. Who is he most like? And I was having a hard time doing that right now. Would you agree that he brings something different? Absolutely,
he brings something very different with his speed. He doesn't have the dribble that maybe some of the other players do. He's not going to necessarily take a player on with his dribble. Instead, he's going to pass it around him like he did that one time and kicked it upfield and just flat out beat the Panama players to the ball. That's what his skill is, and that's something that the U.S. just doesn't have, that world-class speed all the time that he provides.
And then this game, in addition to Miguel Ibarra, there was another player making his first start. That was Zardes of the LA Galaxy. And in the media, Zardes is getting a lot of love now. They're saying this was his breakout game. He's going to be the big star out of this. How would you compare their first two starts? For Miguel, who got an okay rating, and Zardes, who's being lauded as the next big thing in soccer.
I think Zardes, he played a fantastic game. And when you think about him playing for the LA Galaxy, playing with some fantastic players last year, and helping them win an MLS Cup, he is ready to be a U.S. men's national team player. But to just blanket say he had a fantastic game, I think it's missing some of the things that happened in that game. One is, Yedlin had a terrible game. And, we're going to say that Breck Shea had a great game, and part of that was Miguel. Part of that was Zardes is just not the defensive force that Miguel was. All 5'6" or whatever, Miguel. Miguel was just great on defense. In fact, although Zardes had that fantastic pass into Dempsey for the goal, he also gave up a foul, I think 5 yards outside of the box, in a very dangerous position that Panama could have, or a more dangerous team could have turned into a real opportunity on goal. And so, you know, yes, Zardes was played fantastically, but it wasn't a perfect game for Zardes by, you know, any stretch of the imagination.
I like that. Thanks for the perspective on that. So I'm going to ask you finally to look into your Magic 8 ball. Does he play in the Gold Cup?
You know, I think he's got a really strong chance of playing on the Gold Cup. He's the type of player that would be perfect on the Gold Cup. He's not going to necessarily play a lot of minutes, but you've got a lot of games with a short rest in between, and so maybe that middle game when we're playing one of the weaker teams in our group, he gets to start and helps him have a performance like they had against Panama.
Cool. I like that answer. I'm okay with that.
It'd be great to see him get more chances with the U.S. men's national team, because I think he's proven that he's not a charity case. He deserved to be playing with the U.S. men's national team.
Yep. This game showcased that, and even though I wanted a goal, I was okay with what he put out there. He is in the discussion now, and I think there's no more room for people to say that he's just this gimmick for Klinsmann to press other people and try and create controversy in the U.S. soccer scene.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much for being on here again,
Thank
Bill.
you for having me. It was fantastic.
Always fun to talk about this stuff.
Great.
So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Hey, everybody. We're going to talk to Greg now. So Notch had a chance, like we mentioned earlier, to sit down with him and talk a little bit about his professional experience as well as his life outside of soccer. Let's take you to it.
Awesome. So, hey, Greg, thanks so much for joining us. It's really great of you to be here.
No problem.
Yeah, so just now, before we got started, we were talking a little bit about one of the things that some of your colleagues have told me to make sure I started out by asking you, which was, how do you make your pie? Bree swears by your pie.
It's Brie.
Yeah.
It's gotta be Brie.
No, it is Bree, and she told me, like, get this on camera, so he can't, like, avoid giving me
I have
his
the
pie.
recipe, Brie. Don't worry, I'll get it to you.
But you are, like, you pay a lot of close attention to what you eat and to food, to cooking, you were saying before.
Yeah. I love cooking. It's something that I've enjoyed, since I was younger, and since turning professional, I kind of really focused on my eating habits and kind of combine that with my love for cooking. So I do a lot of healthy cooking and prepare most of my meals. So.
Yeah, the team was telling me that you travel to away games with your food back for most of them.
Yeah, I get some flack for that because I carry around like a little cooler that I have my meals packed in and everything. So,
how does the TSA let you fly with that cooler?
I've learned what works. So I usually put like a frozen ice pack in there, and if it's not frozen, then they don't let it through. But I've learned that there's certain things you got to take out, and I've learned that you can't take things in glass jars, and you can't take anything canned through. So I've gone probably through the gambit of different food items. So I know. I mean, if anybody needs tips, I know exactly what you can and can't take through.
Maybe in a few months we need to get you back here to make a video about getting your pre-packed meals through the airport.
Yeah, seriously.
With Greg Jordan.
A how-to guideline would be awesome.
So, but you what's your diet like? What do you eat on a regular basis?
More recently, I've kind of transitioned into more of like a plant-based diet. So, I guess you could consider that sort of vegan. Not strict vegan, but something different. I think it fuels me better. Just feel lighter, feel like I have more energy, and especially in soccer, lots of running. So, transitioning kind of into this. I don't really call it a diet. I call it more of a lifestyle. So, healthy lifestyle. I stay away from the dairy, stay away from the cheese. So, no gluten.
Do you try to evangelize the diet with your teammates, like trying to be like, you should really do this?
No, see, I would never. Yeah, right. I would never. I'm not like the preacher type. Like, you guys totally got to do this. But if guys have questions, and lots of guys are curious. So, if they ask, I'm always willing to give some tips and give some help, and you know, I'd like for more of them to try it, because I think, you know, it totally would make a difference for them as well. So.
Do you think this is something that, you know, you want to kind of focus into, like, later in life?
Yeah, totally. You know, I was a marketing major, business major in college, and got my degree in that. And, you know, I always kind of thought I would, you know, go into the, you know, business realm. And, you know, kind of going into this, you know, healthy lifestyle, I kind of realized that, you know, that I think that's something I want to kind of pursue. You know, once I stop playing soccer, and, you know, maybe try and combine that with, you know, my love for soccer and sports, and maybe kind of do a sports nutrition type thing, and maybe combine that with cooking. So
I had a question for you. So you went to Creighton. So how did you pick
Yeah.
Creighton? Were you a player in high school? Like, did you play club in high school? What was
high school, I actually never played high school soccer. My club team that I played for in Chicago, during the high school soccer season, some of the players from the club would kind of do it was called top talent, basically. And so the guys that didn't want to play high school would come together and make a team, and we'd play in like the amateur league in Chicago, which was really competitive. You got a lot of overseas players that used to play professional and kind of come to the U.S. to make a living. And so you've got kind of, it's almost like a European national team. So you've got like the Polish team, you've got the Serbian team, the Lithuanian team. So it's, you know, it's really competitive, really intense. And so I did that for, you know, throughout high school. And, you know, you kind of start to look into recruiting in colleges about your junior year, and went on some visits to a couple different schools, and Creighton was actually the last one that I visited. And they've got an amazing soccer stadium right in downtown Omaha. And, you know, not having that experience of playing high school soccer in front of big crowds, in front of, you know, your friends, you know, that was something that I really wanted to experience. And, you know, seeing that stadium and, you know, the beautiful setting, it was something that I couldn't pass up.
So I mean, and you've now got some other Creighton alums on the team with you.
Yeah, we've just, it's crazy that, you know, we've got so many guys that used to play Creighton. So Brent Coleman, and Tyler Pollock, we both played together.
Oh, really? So you all were on the team together?
Yeah, we were all on the team together.
Oh, wow,
and
okay.
Brian went there as well, but that was a little bit before our time. So
You're saying he's old.
no, maybe a little.
So what's it like playing at Creighton? You said they've got this gorgeous downtown stadium.
Yeah.
So what's the atmosphere there like?
I mean, we don't have a football team at Creighton. Obviously, there's Nebraska football, which, you know, is huge there, but there's no, you know, football in Creighton. So in the fall in Omaha, that's kind of the big sport. That's kind of the thing to do. So the community really rallies around the team, and, you know, they get 5,000-6,000 fans at a game. So you know, it has the feel of like a small European or English club, sort of, that kind of atmosphere. So it's awesome. And, you know, the coaching staff is fantastic, and it really provides it feels like a professional environment. And that was one of the other things that really drew me to Creighton, was they're the only Division I school that's had a player drafted in the MLS draft every single year. So that was a huge appeal to me, obviously, because I wanted to, you know, hopefully play professional at some point, and so that was very appealing as well.
So my understanding of how it works to go pro is very low. I really don't know, and I suspect a lot of the people watching this video probably also don't know. So you start at a college, and you know in your head, like, I want to do this. What's step 2, 3, 4, 5? Like, how does it go for you? Like, what do you have to do?
You know, it's tricky. It's kind of you know, it takes a little bit of luck. I know one of my best friends or roommates, Ethan Finley, who he plays for the Columbus Crew and had a really good season this past year. We were friends, you know, before going to Creighton, and we kind of talked and decided that, I mean, we both kind of had professional aspirations, so we decided to graduate high school semester early, and we both went together to Creighton in the spring season before that first fall season started. So we were able to train with the team and get to know each other, and so that made that transition into the fall season very so much easier because it really happens really quick. And it also allowed us to, in that chance that we were able to go professional or were drafted by a team, we were done after our fall season and didn't have any school to finish in that spring. So that's an issue that a lot of guys run into is, they get drafted by a team and then, they still have a semester of school to finish. So it's like, do I drop out and pursue my professional aspirations and kind of hold off and try and finish school later on, or do I finish school and risk the chance of the team not signing me or not wanting me anymore? So it's really tough, and luckily we the plan kind of followed through how we wanted it to in the beginning, and so it takes a little bit of luck. It really helps when your team does well, has a good season. Luckily, our last year we made it all the way to the Final Four, and so that helps you get on the professional coach's radar, and so like I said, it's a little bit of luck, but going to a high profile school like Creighton, your name gets out there a lot more than some of the smaller schools, and the professional coaches obviously pay attention to Creighton because they've provided so many professional players to the MLS.
So now for you, when did it kind of all come together? When were you sure, like, I am now gonna go pro?
You get invited to like the MLS Combine basically, and so I got the invite to that probably a couple weeks before the final four. So I mean, you go to that, and I mean, there's no guarantee at all that you're going to be a professional. You're kind of just trying to show well in front of the coaches, and then you have the MLS draft, which I mean, which is crazy. There's no guarantee that anyone that even gets drafted is going to be a professional. So I got drafted like middle of the pack. I think it was 32nd or 33rd overall to the Philadelphia Union, and there's no guarantee there either. So you go into preseason with Philadelphia, and you're basically fighting for a spot, fighting to make the team. So it was a whirlwind year, kind of going from college, and then you're jumping in right away into the professional, guys who've played 8 to 10 plus years professional and have been around the block and know what they're doing. And so you're jumping in, and you've really got to, you got to hit the ground running to be able to compete with those guys. And, you're basically competing for a job. So, I would say there was really no guarantee that I was going to become a professional until, you get that contract offer from the club. So it's kind of, it's tough, and it's stressful for sure. But I think, all the stuff that you go through in high school and college, and it prepares you well for that mental, that mental part of it. And, I think in the end, it's all worth it.
So since coming to Minnesota, you've had a couple of great goals. You've played some really terrific games. And is there, when you look back on this past season, is there one thing that's your happy place? Like, you go back there when you need to kind of, was there a moment that happened this year that kind of is that moment for you?
Yeah, I mean, that Swansea game was pretty cool. I mean, anytime you can play, an EPL side, you gotta, you get up for the game. Like, and I think you saw that with, the team all around, all the guys that played. That we all really wanted to win, and I think we all stepped up our game, and it's times like that you you realize, this is why I love playing this sport, playing this game, and in situations like that, when you can perform well against high level competition and show that you can compete against somebody that plays against some of the best players in the world.
You're speaking very generally, but you scored one of the goals in that game.
It was pretty cool, pretty surreal.
Yeah.
You see, you beat Swansea, and then you see them, the first week of the EPL season beating Manchester United, and you're like, that's crazy. What, it's a pretty cool feeling.
I gotta ask you, do you remember scoring that goal? Like,
see, it's so funny. Whenever I score my goals, it's almost like I always joke with the guys. It's almost like a mini blackout. Like you just, for me, it just, I don't totally remember like what happened until you see it like on film. But it was kind of a play that, kind of a broken play that like worked out beautifully. It was a really beautiful goal. Passing was just awesome. You can, I think in the play you can tell that all of us have a really good understanding, and I think it shows that the type of team that we were. We were a really close team, and we just understood how each other played, and I think you can see the understanding between us and the creativity. It was awesome.
So it's the the behind the scenes closeness that also comes together on the pitch.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when you're around guys and when you play with guys enough, you create that understanding. You kind of know where somebody's going to be before they do, and I think that play kind of demonstrated that.
Going forward into next season, one of the things that I've been kind of trying to find out is what folks want to achieve. So for you personally, what's your going into next season? Is there an area of improvement? Is there something you want to focus on more or less? And
coming to Minnesota, my 2 years in Philadelphia was tough and challenging, and I was actually playing center back when I was in Philadelphia, and really didn't play in the midfield at all when I was there. So, I was kind of playing a new position and learning a new position, and I'm really grateful for that because I think it gives me some versatility, and I understand different positions. But it was awesome coming to Minnesota and being able to play in that midfield role that I'm much more familiar with, and I think kind of suits my game better. And even being here, I kind of played a higher midfield role that I didn't usually. I mean, I was basically a defensive midfielder in college, and that was kind of my role was to kind of be the enforcer in there and win tackles and be able to be that connector basically through the back line. And here I was kind of played a higher role and was able to get into the attack more and kind of show my passing ability and creativity, and I loved that, and that was something different and fun, and I really want to continue to improve on my offensive kind of attacking game, my passing range, definitely want to work on show my ability to score, and I definitely want to try and get score some more goals this year, and kind of provide more on the attacking part of it. Obviously we had some really good attacking options this past year, and I want to be able to help and contribute to that.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, which is, unfortunately, it's been irritating me since you signed for this team,
Yeah.
which was I cannot come up with some sort of a song that involves Greg Jordan. Like, I can't make it fit into something, because
Yeah.
it's been I've been trying to make a chant of some sort.
Yeah.
Because you've been on the pitch so much.
Yeah.
And we just can't seem to bring anything except for the generic one. Have you ever had
No.
anyone sing?
Well, no.
Put your name into a song that worked out?
I mean, my family is very musical. The rest of my family is very musical, so I would not be surprised if one of them could come up with something.
If they do, you let us know.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
Tell my brother.
But, I mean, let's talk a little bit fan service now because there are a lot of dark clouds watching this. Have you had, any moments where you're like, who are these crazy people? Or like, have you had any interactions with Dark Clouds that are particularly memorable?
I mean, I just remember the first game where there was, I think it was like crazy smoke and crazy blue flames and stuff, and I was like, this is awesome. Love this.
That was pretty intense, yeah.
So even the Swansea game was, that game was crazy and was just totally packed. And I mean, I love that all the Dark Clouds come, to the boards and, coming by and giving everybody a high five after the game. Like, I love that, kind of fan interaction and, being able to sign autographs. And, I love that people just hang around after the, people will wait 30, 40 minutes after the game just to shake your hand or say hi or congratulate you or sign an autograph. So, I love, that support that you get from the fans and from the kids, and it's awesome.
I mean, that's a really important thing, I think, for a lot of Dark Clouds too. We really like that you guys make the time for us too.
You feel like you really get to know the players, and I think that, then you feel like you want to support it more. Then I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think that's all we have the time for today, Greg. Thanks again so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
And until next time.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that interview, guys. Greg Jordan's really one of the nicest guys I've had the chance to sit down with and ask some questions. And I kind of wish that I'd left the video on for about another half hour while we talked about what it's like to be a new MLS draftee, some of the unsureties of, being in that system. One of the most interesting things that he told me was, right up until July, it's really hard for a new MLS player, someone who's spending their first year with an MLS team, to really be sure about whether they're going to even be in MLS, or right up until July, at any time they can be removed from the team, and it's a pretty harsh life if you really think about it. But anyway, sometime in the future, hopefully we'll do a cook-off segment with Greg and Craig Malice from Minnesota United, some conversations on Twitter about getting that kind of a segment filmed, so maybe something like that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, in the meantime, subscribe on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, and, like us on Facebook.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for watching, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.